906 Outdoors is brought to you in part by Orion Hunting Products. I'm in the Keweenaw with Lake Shark Lures. We'll take a look at how they paint their lures.
These are trolling spoons that we make. Trolling spoons are kind of our bread and butter.
And how they catch fish with them. It's berry time in the UP. We took a drive to Chassell and paid a visit to the Gierke blueberry farm.
These bushes were just hanging.
9 million acres of forest, 1,700 miles of continuous shoreline, 4,300 lakes, 12,000 miles of streams, more than 300 waterfalls, 15 counties, 2 time zones, and 1 area code. Welcome to the Upper Peninsula. Welcome to 906 Outdoors. .906 Outdoors is brought to you by Cooking Wild Seasonings. Make it fresh, make it yours. Fishing has been a bit slow, but the fishing is only part of it. The scenery of the Keweenaw Peninsula in the background, the crystal clear waters of Lake Superior, and hardly a boat to be seen anywhere. Not at all a bad place to spend an afternoon and an evening. And if you make lures, it's a great place to put your product to the test.
Right now it's pretty rough, so we're only running 6 rods. We've got 2 downrigger rods out, 2 dipsy rods, and then 2 lead core rods out. We got a 3 and a 5 color out. Running our downriggers down towards the bottom, looking to pick up some lake trout. And then we were out here fishing yesterday, and we did pick up a couple salmon. So we're hoping as the night continues, the salmon start working their way back in, and hopefully it gets a little bit calmer. We are running meat rigs down on the dipsy divers right now, and then we just painted up some custom 5.5-inch Dodgers that we're running out on the lead core right now. They did pretty good last night, bringing us into some cohos up on our lead core lines up high. So we're hoping those with a spoon that matches or similar to that works out well again tonight. So setup that most people run on their dipsy divers, it's called a no fish nick setup. We're going to be putting the dipsy diver out as usual. I'm actually going to be running this on my wire diver here. And it actually is going to clip on, and then you're going to be able to take it on and off just like a board. We'll see today with the wind and the weather if we can get it out without any tangles. I'm hoping we can. Make sure we keep that boat control. So as you can see here, we've got about a 50-60 foot leader of mono line. It's going to be coming out. This is actually 40-pound fluorocarbon. And then we've got it tied to a 30-pound piece of mono. And this is what it's tied to. This is a 30-pound piece and a little swivel and then a loop. So that way we could connect that to it. And that way we get to run a very long leader and we don't have to run slide divers. And walk it back. We're going to clear that downrigger. Go in, let it start pulling out, and there you go. Now you've got a dipsy with a long leader run to it. Again, I can't take the credit for it. It's called the No Fish Nick setup on YouTube. You can look it up and they work very, very well.
.906 Outdoors is brought to you in part by Blades Bait and Tackle, your year-round connection to fishing Badenoch.
This is our mag cherry bomb lure that we're going to put on with one of our custom Dodgers that we just made up the other day.
Justin and Holly Martinchek are owners of Lake Shark Lures in Hancock. Justin is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force and now a forester. Holly is a flight nurse, and they both love to fish. and they've turned their love of fishing into a business. Before we look at catching fish, we'll take a look at the lures.
Well, this is 4 of the sizes of trolling spoons that we make. Trolling spoons are kind of our bread and butter. We do offer different spoons, but this is our big piece that we work on a lot. So these are 4 different sizes. So I'm just going to run through and kind of just paint a couple of them for you today. So first, before it looks like this, we have to sand them down, then clean it, put the sticker on, put our split rings on, and then we can get to the painting part. It's really important for us to make sure that they're durable, so we make sure to scuff them up so the paint sticks. We have a top secret primer recipe that we use to make sure the paint sticks too. And then after the whole process, we'll go ahead and put a good clear coat on it too. We want them to last for people. I'm gonna do a lure today called Hog Wild. It's got some UV and glow elements, so it's one that we really like to use a lot. In order to make the colors pop, I'm gonna put a white base coat down first. And we can do up to 15 at a time. Justin set up this system so I can do quite a few, and it goes a lot faster. I've just got a few set up today, but we'll normally line this all up. And for this one, since it has some exposed metal on there, some exposed steel, we're gonna use that primer. This lure has kind of a gold effect, so to get that, I just do a really light coat of orange over the silver to make it look more gold.
Buddy and I were having a couple beers in the garage one night and talking about how we could get into the fishing business in general, and lo and behold, Facebook actually had a marketplace ad from down in Holland, Michigan, and at the time it was called Big Lake Lures, and it was the right time for my wife and I, so we just thought, well, let's give it a try. So we came back up with a snowmobile trailer full of lure making stuff. We kind of hemmed and hawed and came up with Lake Shark lures. And then my wife, Holly, she came up with the design and the logo, and it's been quite the experience and a lot of fun so far.
The scale pattern is a sticker that we get to put on them as well. There's so many different types of tapes we have. There's a company out of Coloma, Michigan. We try to get a lot of our stuff from Michigan when we can, and they have an awesome, huge selection of different tapes for lures, and that's one of them that we get from them. So that's that. At this point, we put hooks on, and then we'd do the clear coat, and then get them packaged, and they're ready to go, ready to catch fish. So we, along with trolling spoons, we started doing casting spoons this year, and also some jigs too. So these are some of the blade baits that we started doing. We have 2 different sizes, 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce. These are really fun to use. Justin caught a lot of walleye on these. So we've got the blade baits. We also do 3 different types of casting spoons. There's a couple of these. These are got some weight to them. We've got this type as well, and then we have these ones. So just a few different patterns that we've made. We're hoping to keep expanding on products. We started trialing out some Dodgers this week, which were really fun. We caught a nice coho with a new Dodger last night. So we want to keep expanding on products and get into more stores and make them available to people year-round. Well, this is how we do our blister packs. Put the blister in, load your spoon, and then we get our card in place. And that seals it in. It's always a little steamy at first, but that'll go away.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Rapid River Knife Works, home of Michigan's largest custom knife factory showroom.
Out here with my wife Holly and on our new boat called the Wicked. We decided that next year we're gonna give some chartering part-time a go and see how that goes. I think we've got the right boat and the right combination. This is a brand new 2022 Sea Runner. We've got it fully equipped, decked out, lots of new technology, 12-inch screen here for the Humminbird Solex. We've got a 9-inch Garmin here and then another one hooked up to Panoptix in the back. We're controlling all of our autopilot and stuff comes right off our trolling motor in the front. We decided to go with Mark Heltman from Superior Fishing Products. He does a phenomenal job. He's also done a number of other kind of oddball things on different boats we've had. Some shields for the transducers so it doesn't spray water in. These, in my opinion, are some of the best out there. Superior Fishing Products, right in Houghton, Michigan.
Little Laker.
It's on the one you guys painted up this morning. Let's get this guy back. Little lake trout.
So once in a while we'll see a fish following the lure. We can see it on the Panoptics and they just aren't biting it. So I'll release the downrigger and just hold it there for a minute. 9 times out of 10 they'll bite it and we'll just reel them up.
Go. Big one, but show them right here, there's a fish right there. What other dude set up?
Yeah, he's a keeper because he had another fish in there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Smell.
A little breading on that. 906 Outdoors is brought to you in part by Christ, your Northwoods neighborhood store. I love blueberries. Blueberry pie, blueberry cheesecake, blueberry jam, and of course, blueberry pancakes. But I will admit, I don't care that much for crawling around the ground picking them. For those who can relate to what I'm saying, there may be hope. I paid a visit to the Gierke Blueberry Farm in Chassell, where the picking is a whole lot easier.
Opening day is like, I liken it to opening day of deer season. So people come out in the dark to get the good bush. And this year was no exception. We had a couple come from Ironwood or Iron River at about 10 to 6 in the morning. Crystal Falls, Iron River seems like they have a lot of blueberry addicts down there. Marquette, if they're not getting the wild berries, if the wild berry crop is light. Northern Wisconsin come up. All the parking spots will be filled up. I get help to help me with parking and crowd control. And we have 3,500 bushes. They're 50 years old, plus or minus. There's a lot of varieties. These varieties tend to get ripe starting early to mid-August, depending on the year, and continue. We can have picking on a good year like this all the way till freeze up. And so we have some varieties that don't ripen till early October, and we often don't get those because they'll freeze up before they're ready. We average about 10,000 pounds get get recorded or paid for out of here. On most years, we've had as small as crops as 2,300 pounds, and then our banner year was 2012, a real early spring, and that was 20,000 pounds of blueberries came off here. So we all know that blueberries are grown commercially down in Lower Michigan on the western side of the state, and the person that was the grandfather of commercial blueberry farming in Michigan was a professor of horticulture at Michigan State University. His name is Stanley Johnston. So he had this idea that blueberries could also grow in northern climates if they developed the right varieties. So he commissioned some farms to have test plots like this one, and Opa's down the lane here, and some other people that don't have official blueberry farms, but they have patches left over from those days. And I've even found journal papers, scientific papers that he's published about these test plots. And I guess there were a lot of them, but there's not many left. And the ones that sort of remained were in the Copper Country, and then it turns out there's some down in the Garden Peninsula. And my wife found in MSU Extension files a record of a letter from Stanley Johnson to my great-grandfather commissioning him with some blueberries, and no one in my family ever knew that my family ever grew blueberries until she found that letter. So I guess it's sort of in my blood, but it takes quite a while to grow blueberry bushes, especially up here in the north. We visit with a lot of people that come out here that have their own blueberry bushes, that they're still growing them, and they wonder how long it takes. We have a few small plants that we've planted, and they're knee high, and they're probably 10 years old, and they don't produce enough to get a pie, unlike these big ones. These are pretty spectacular, and on opening day, these bushes were just hanging because of the weight of the berries, and roughly half of the crop has been taken off, so things have lightened up quite a bit. The conditions, I think, for a really good year are during pollination time. So you want to have good conditions during pollination to get as many of those blossoms pollinated as possible. And then warm, they tend to like warm, so an early spring is good. Blueberry bush roots don't have many root hairs, and so they need sort of frequent rain. So we have the honeybees to help with pollination, although most of the pollination probably happens with wild pollinators. But they're easy to raise, and we get honey from them. We try to overwinter them. Here in the Upper Peninsula, especially here in the Copper Country, that's an iffy proposition. If you can overwinter half of your hives, you're doing pretty well. So the two taller ones here overwintered last year. We insulate them and feed them in the fall and in the spring and through the winter. And then the three smaller ones were all brand new bees that were purchased this year. So you can see the ones that you overwinter, there's an advantage. Not only do you save the money from buying new bees, but you get a head start on the season. The bees are acclimated to the area, so they know where to go, and they have a larger population to start with. I have a water well here. It's 140 foot deep. It's drilled into the Jacobsville sandstone, and the bedrock here is about 12 feet deep, and the water table is about 50 feet deep. A lot of the farms up here had irrigation ponds, but then you have to filter that water because of the suspended material in it. So I had this water well drilled, and it's powered by this solar panel, 1500 watt solar panel. So I have a DC powered pump in the well, and it pumps water out to these pipes that go out to the drip lines. The ultimate capacity well is about 30 gallons per minute, but the pump that I have in there will do about, on a noontime sun, clear day, 16 to 18 gallons per minute, which is enough to do about half of the blueberry bushes on a given day, and then you can do the other half another day. So this bus used to drive around through Trolley Mountain and South Range, which are small mining towns, old mining towns, in the summertime during strawberry season, and they would park, and parents would come out and put their kids on the bus, and that bus would come out here and the kids would pick strawberries all day long. Eventually this quit being a strawberry farm, and the bus got abandoned here. Some of the people that used to ride out here as kids will come out either blueberry picking or visiting, and they'll come out and take a look at the bus because they used to ride it as a kid. I put up trail cams, and we get pictures of bears in the off season of blueberry season, at mostly nighttime. I got some from this year. But we don't see bears on the fields much. The number of people that we have, and you can see things are sort of packed down, and the amount of human scent out here pretty much keeps them clear. And so then it takes about a month or so after the season, we close for the season, that we start seeing the deer and maybe bears coming back. But then, by that time it's hunting season, so their habits have changed. But the predation on the bushes is imperceptible. Same thing with birds. You're seeing birds flying around. I'm sure they're eating berries, but we rarely see that has an impact. We've adopted a policy like previous owners where this is open to the public. So we try to foster them to be self-sufficient in their picking, that they bring their own containers. We have a money box and a scale, and other than opening day, we don't work that, so people just come and go as they please. And hopefully they have their own change or send a check, or sometimes we get IOUs. This year on opening day we got several IOUs because people couldn't imagine they were going to pick as much as they did. And so on a good year things like that happen. The bushes are high. They're perfect height if you have a walker and you come out here with a walker. You can tie the bucket right to the walker, and I have pictures of elderly that have done that. In fact, we have an elderly group coming out from Little Brothers later this week. Wheelchairs, there's places you can wheel a wheelchair here. We mow, so I call it golf course picking. It's pretty easy walking for the most part, and the bushes are high. And we have buckets that we loan out. People can borrow those to pick their berries and then transfer them to bags if they forget. So we get a lot of drop-ins that people that just discover us as they're driving by and they're not really prepared. We're open daylight hours. Again, because it's self-sufficient, you can come anytime you want, and when we're open, and we put up reports on the internet and on our phone answering machine on the picking conditions, and we'll also post if we're closed. So some years, we haven't this year closed, but some years we close during the week to let things ripen up if we get a heavy pick and we have a limited crop.
Feel free to join us on Facebook or visit us at 906outdoors.com. Thanks for watching, and we invite you to join us next week for another adventure right here on 906 Outdoors.